here is a mind-blowing fact. Two people with identical 401k contributions can end up with $1 million difference between their retirement savings. And it's not because one person picked better stocks. And most financial advisors won't tell you about the 5 critical decisions that create this gap. So today, I'm breaking down exactly what they are and how you can be on the right side of that $1 million difference. What's up, everybody? I'm Rashida, and I'm your guide to smart money moves. I began my wealth building journey at the age of 17. I've grown my portfolio to 7 figures, and I did it all on a police officer's salary. So I'm on a mission to show you that it is possible for you too, and how you can get there. Today, I'm breaking down the 5 game-changing aspects of your 401k that most people completely miss. And number 1 may surprise you. It's something I see even experienced investors get wrong all the time. So let's dive in. The number 1 biggest misconception about 401ks is that they are tax-free.
I have a lot of money in my 401k.
Okay, I'm sorry for you.
Why do you feel sorry for me? It's a way to put money in without paying taxes on it.
It's a way for you to be trapped for 30 years.
Well, you can pull it out when you're
63. How old are you right now?
50.
13 years from now, will taxes be higher or lower?
Higher.
You will wish you would have sold them when you were 50 because you'd pay lower taxes, dude.
You don't pay any taxes when you pull out money out of your 401k if you wait until you're 63.
When you start using that money, you're going to pay taxes, bro. You weren't charged taxes while it sat there. What's wrong with you? You're not.
IRS allows penalty-free withdrawals from retirement accounts after the age of 59 and a half.
Penalty-free, not tax-free. So they're going to charge you a penalty. They're going to put handcuffs on you to sell it before then. But dude, when you're 63 years old, when you start withdrawing, you're going to start paying taxes at that point.
Yeah, you're right. 401k withdrawals are taxes in.
Exactly.
And so let me show you why understanding the tax situation could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in retirement. And so let's break this thing down with some real numbers to help you understand it. So for this example, let's say you've got $1,000 to invest. You have 2 choices. You're going to either pick a traditional 401k or a Roth 401k, depending on what your employer offers. And this is where it's going to get interesting. With a traditional 401k, you put in the full $1,000 now, and that money grows tax-free for decades. But here is the catch. You'll pay taxes on everything when you withdraw it. That means taxes on both your original investment and all of the earnings you made over those decades of having it invested in the market. Now, with a Roth 401k, you pay taxes now. So maybe with that $1,000 investment, you're going to pay, around $300 in taxes at the current rates. That means you have $700 to actually invest in the market and let it grow and compound over those same decades. It grows tax-free. And the best part about a Roth is you never pay taxes again. Now, let me tell you why I personally lean towards the Roth option. It's because we're looking at unprecedented government spending and national debt. So just think about that. Do you really believe that tax rates will be lower in the future or higher? I don't think they're going to be lower, and here's why. Our national debt keeps hitting new records. Government spending continues to increase, and that means that someone's going to have to pay for that eventually. And so as we look at these sorts of trends, I see higher tax rates in our future, not lower. Look, guys, I'm not a financial advisor, and everyone's situation is different, but here is my take. If you're early or mid-career, paying taxes now with a Roth could be like buying insurance against future tax hikes. Plus, there is something incredibly powerful about knowing that every penny in that account is yours to keep. That is going to be so crucial as you live out your retirement years, because you know that you never have to pay another dime in taxes to the government if it's coming from this Roth. All right, second up on our list is going to be fees. So let's run some real numbers. So let's assume that you're investing $1,000 every single month for 35 years. And if the market gives you a 10% average annual return, here is where things get absolutely shocking when it comes to fees. So if you have 2 investors making the same contributions and receiving the exact same return on their investments, the person that has a fee of 0.07% is going to end up with $3.5 million. Now, that second person with the higher fee of 0.85% is going to be looking at only $2.9 million. That is a $600,000 difference. That's enough to buy a house outright in most parts of the country. Now, let's make this even more real. If you spread that money over 30 years in retirement, you are looking at almost an extra $1,700 every single month in your pocket throughout those 30 years of retirement. That could be huge. Think about what you could do with an extra $1,700 a month in your retirement years. That's your monthly grocery bill and then some, or a couple nice weekend trips, or helping out with your grandkids' college fund, or just extra peace of mind. Because what's interesting is, as you're in your working years, you're constantly stressed about having enough to save for retirement. But when you're in retirement, a new stress will emerge. It's, do I have enough money to last me for the rest of my life? And so that extra peace of mind is going to be huge as you live out your retirement years. And so this is why I get so fired up when it comes to fees on your investments. We're not just talking about abstract numbers here. We're talking about the difference between being able to buy a house outright and not. And remember, these fees are not just a one-time thing. They are eating away at your money every single year. Whether the market goes up or down, it doesn't matter. The fees will still get paid to these investment companies. Now, let's talk about something that might keep you trapped in a bad investment situation. That is control. Or more specifically, the two types of control that you naturally are going to give up when you invest through your 401k. Employer control and investment control. First, let's talk about employer control. Sure, your company may offer what seems like free money through matching. Maybe they match 50% or even 100% of your contributions up to a certain amount, right? And that sounds great because it is. But here's something that they don't emphasize when you're in that HR meeting signing up for this. And that is something called a vesting schedule. And you can think of this as handcuffs made of gold. And so with a vesting schedule, your company might require you to stay for 2 years to keep 20% of their match, 3 years for 60% of the match, or 5 years to get the full 100% of their match. And if you leave before that time they have specified in those terms, you could stand to lose part or even all of the free money that they promised you. Now, don't get me wrong, company matching is extremely valuable because it's really one of the only ways for you to get a risk-free return on your investment. But you need to understand the strings attached to your 401k. So I want you to go and check your vesting schedule the next time you go to work, because understanding that could seriously influence major career decisions. And I can speak to a former employer that I worked for in which the vesting schedule got ridiculous. It started out with 5 years, okay? But by the time I left, the new employees that were coming in, the vesting schedule was way out to 15 years. That means you'd have to stay at that company or that employer for 15 years before you were allowed to truly keep all of that money that they were putting into your retirement account. That, in my opinion, is absolutely insane. If you are working for a company like that and you have not been there very long, I would seriously consider a better employer. Now, the second type of control that you're going to give up is investment control. It's no secret that most 401ks are going to be limited as far as the menu. First of all, every option is pre-selected for you and you get to pick from this short list of potential investments, okay? And so if you're someone that really wants to invest in individual stocks, let's say like an Apple or Microsoft, usually you can't do that. Or if you're interested in real estate investing, no, that's not going to be an option in your 401k. And if you want to adjust your strategy quickly based on any sort of market conditions that you feel like you need to make a change based on, that's not really going to be feasible. Instead, you're typically going to be stuck with a handful of mutual funds, some target date funds based on your age and when you plan to retire, and maybe one or two bond funds. And remember those fees we just talked about? You have to pay them regardless of how these funds perform. And some of the fees offered in these investments inside your 401k are very, very high, especially if you're looking at anything that's sort of specialized or actively managed. Now, let's look at something that I wish someone had told me earlier in my career, and is that your 401k is a great place to start investing, but it's not where you want to stop. It shouldn't be your end all be all for your entire retirement portfolio. And here's why. Most people think that they are fully diversified because their 401k holds different types of funds: a growth fund, a value fund, an international fund. But here's your reality check. You're still putting all of your money in one type of investment, and that is going to be paper assets managed by Wall Street. So let me show you what real diversification looks like during a market downturn, which is the whole point of true diversification. Let's take 2008, for example. As we all know, there was a major crash in the markets because of the housing collapse that happened back then. Now, while the S&P 500 dropped 37% during that market crash, many rental real estate investors were still collecting monthly checks during that time. And if you held gold in your portfolio, gold actually went up 5.5% during that time. And some government bonds gained over 15% during a stock market crash. So think about that for a minute. And it's not just about the crash, it's about the recovery too, because during the 2020 pandemic, the stock market, again, it took a sharp dive. But while tech stocks recovered very quickly, now on the other hand, commercial real estate took a lot longer to bounce back. And some argue that it still hasn't reached pre-pandemic levels. And then if you look at residential real estate, in many areas, it increased in value, okay? So that's what true diversification actually looks like. It means that you're holding things in which not everything is moving in the same direction at the same time. And so think of it this way: relying solely on your 401k for retirement is like building a house on a single support beam. But what happens if it gets damaged? A truly stable structure is going to need multiple support points, right? And so that is what real diversification gives you: stability through multiple sources of wealth. And so that brings us to talking about 3 asset classes that have created more millionaires than anything else in the last century. That's going to be stocks, real estate, and businesses. Now, your 401k is going to give you access to all of these, and it's going to be in a limited way. So that is important to understand. And so think of your 401k as your foundation. It's great to have this, but here is how you can build on top of it. First, you want to look at expanding your stock market access, and the easiest way to do that is going to be through an individual retirement account or an IRA. It's going to give you a lot more investment flexibility. Another thing that you consider is if you've maxed out your 401k, if you maxed out your IRA contributions for the year, you could also consider an individual brokerage account for complete control. This has no stipulations as far as what you can invest in and when you can withdraw those funds. You don't have to wait to retirement if you don't want to. Another thing to consider is buying index funds or ETFs for the lower fees that they offer than most of the options available in your 401k. Again, remember, fees can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, literally over decades. And when you're ready to go to the next level in your investment journey, if you're looking at individual stocks, that's something that you can't do again in a 401k. And the last thing to consider when you're looking at expanding your stock exposure is going to be individual stocks. And that is when you're deep into your journey of being an investor, because individual stocks is for someone that really knows what they're doing, and that is not going to be an option in a 401k. Now, the second option beyond your 401k is going to be real estate opportunities, okay? Rental properties for monthly cash flow could be huge as you retire. Another option under this umbrella is going to be investing in REITs. If you want to start real estate investing on a much smaller and simpler level, you can buy a REIT. And what that is, it's basically an ETF that invests in commercial real estate properties, okay? That's called a REIT. And you could consider some of these newer real estate crowdfunding platforms, okay? And the beautiful part about real estate is that you stand to make money in two separate ways. One is going to be from the monthly rent that you collect from any tenants that you have. And then the second thing is going to be through property appreciation. Obviously, real estate tends to go up in value over the long term, okay? And now our third option is going to be investing in businesses. Now, at the first layer of this option is going to be obviously start your own business. Now, if you work full time, that can be a side business, but just start some sort of business that can give you the opportunity to make another stream of income besides what you bring in from your employer. And if you're someone that has just really knocked investing out of the park for some time and you've got cash on hand, you could go on to consider things like investing in established businesses or being an angel investor in some sort of startup. Now, these are a lot higher out on the risk scale, and it's nothing that some beginners should start thinking about, but it's something that you can definitely consider when you're decades into your investment journey and you are a lot more savvy about how businesses operate and make money. And here's the key. You don't need to jump into everything at once. Start with what you know and then gradually expand. And so for most people, I would recommend going in this order. First, max out your 401k because that's free money. Then you want to look at building up your IRA assets, that individual retirement account. Then and only then you can move on to exploring those alternative investments that we just talked about. Now, here's your action plan. First, go and check your 401k fees tonight. Check your vesting schedule when you get back to work. And if you don't know where to find that, then just reach out to your HR department. They can definitely tell you what the vesting schedule is. And last but not least, I want you to start researching one alternative investment that speaks to you. And if one is already speaking to you, I want you to put it down in the comment section. I really want to know what you guys are interested in to help you grow your wealth. And if you found this breakdown helpful, do me a quick favor. Please hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you don't have to miss out on any of my future content. I post new videos every single week that gives you ideas, tips, and strategies on how to turn your income into real wealth. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. All right, guys, now let me leave you with this final thought. Building wealth is not just about growing numbers in an account. It's about creating freedom to make choices on your own terms, freedom to help out the people that you care about and love, freedom to live the life that you've imagined. You deserve to live your idea of a rich life, and I truly believe that. And so just remember that your future self is counting on the decisions that you make today, because small adjustments now can mean the difference between just getting by and truly thriving in retirement. And you've already taken the first step by being here and seeking knowledge. If you are still here watching this video at this point, drop a brain emoji in the comment section. Now, I want you guys to take this knowledge and turn it into action, because remember that real wealth is not going to be built by accident or chance. It's been a pleasure. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys in the next one. Again, I'm Rashida and I'm out.